Prepping like this gives you an unfair advantage in a blackout. And I really do mean unfair, not because you spent thousands on fancy batteries, not because you've got some Hollywood survival bunker, and not because you brought every gadget the internet told you to buy. I mean unfair in a much simpler way, because when the power goes out, most people lose control of the situation almost straight away. Not because they're weak, not because they're stupid, but because modern life is so dependent on electricity that the second it disappears, normal people realize just how much of their comfort, routine and confidence was plugged into the wall. The lights go out, the Wi-Fi dies, the heating stops, the house feels different instantly. Phones come out, the fridge gets opened, nobody quite knows what the plan is. And within 10 minutes, a perfectly normal home can start feeling oddly chaotic. But if you prep the right way, a blackout feels completely different. Still annoying, of course, still inconvenient, but calm, controlled, manageable. And that different matters more than people realize, because in any disruption, the biggest advantage is usually not money, strength, or even gear. It is having a system before the problem begins. That is what I want to talk about in this video, because I think most people prepare for blackouts in the wrong way. They prepare for the event, but not the experience. They think about electricity going off, but they do not think about what actually happens to a household minute by minute, mood by mood, decision by decision. And once you understand that, your whole approach changes. Welcome back to Charlie Survival. If you haven't already, subscribe and leave a comment now telling me this. If the power went off tonight for 24 hours, what would you struggle with first? Light, cooking, warmth, charging, or just keeping the house calm? Because most people do not discover their weak points until they are standing in it. Now, here's the big shift. The unfair advantage in a blackout does not come from owning the most stuff. It comes from reducing friction. That is the real game, because a blackout is basically friction entering your life all at once. You cannot see properly, you cannot charge things easily, you're not sure what to cook, the house feels colder, the silence feels strange. You do not know whether to save the battery, use the lantern, keep opening the fridge, or just sit tight. And all that little mental noise stacks up fast. That is why the unfair advantage is not really about survival in the dramatic sense, it's about making your household less confused under pressure. A well-prepared home becomes boring, and boring is exactly what you want. You want a blackout to feel annoying, not destabilizing. So the first thing I've learned is this: the people who do best in blackouts are not the ones with the flashiest gear, they are the ones with the least confusion. That is massive, because when most people think about blackout prep, they think products first. Torches, lanterns, power banks, camping stoves, radios, battery stations. And yes, those things matter, but the deeper question is this: does your household know what happens next? If the lights went off right now, who grabs what? Where is the main torch? What do you do if children are tired, hungry and unsettled? That is where the real advantage comes from, not stuff alone, sequences, because people get calmer when they know sequences. Step 1, light. Step 2, work out how big the problem is. Step 3, protect battery and keep the fridge shut. Step 4, sort warmth and food. Step 5, settle the house down. That is a very different experience than random scrambling, and it takes me to the first real principle. Prep for the first 10 minutes, not just for the first 3 days. This is where most people get it wrong. They jump straight to the big dramatic scenario. What if it lasts a week? What if the grid goes down? What if this is the big one? And because they start there, they miss the actual bit that causes the most stress. The first 10 minutes. That is where panic either starts or dies. If the house goes dark and within 30 seconds you have calm lighting, a clear head, a sense of what to do next, you are already ahead of most people. That is the unfair advantage. So blackout prep should always begin with the immediate layer. Can I light the room safely and quickly? Can I move around the house without relying on a phone torch like an idiot? Can I keep everyone from spiraling in the first few minutes? Because if you win the opening, the rest gets much easier. Blackouts are a bit like turbulence on a plane. If everyone around you starts flapping, the whole thing feels worse. If someone stays calm, other people settle faster. Your home works the same way. The second principle is one people massively underestimate. Light is not just practical, it is psychological. Most people think light is only about visibility, and obviously it is, but it is also about mood. A dark house feels vulnerable very quickly. Even when nothing dangerous is actually actually happening, darkness changes the emotional tone of the home. It makes people feel unsettled. So good blackout prep is not just have a torch, it's make the house feel normal enough that people do not lose their heads. A harsh white beam in everyone's face is useful, but it is not calming. A well-placed lantern, a softer room light, a repeatable lighting routine, that changes everything. Because when people are calmer, they make better decisions, they waste less battery, they open the fridge less, they stop acting as though the world is ending. That is why blackout prep is partly about atmosphere. You're not just lights in a room, you're controlling the tone of the house. That is a huge advantage. The third principle is this: the real blackout advantage is not stored power, it is power discipline. This matters a lot because people think having a power bank or a battery or a power station is the win, and yes, that helps. But the real win is knowing how to use stored power without burning through it stupidly. That is the advantage. A lot of people treat stored power the way stressed people treat money. They spend it emotionally, they keep checking things, they run items because it feels comforting, and suddenly something that should have lasted days lasts a few hours. So the real question is not just do you have backup power, it is do you have a plan for your power? What gets charged first? What actually matters? Phone, lighting, router, medical equipment, what can wait? What does not need using at all? Because in a blackout, restraint is part of readiness, and that is not glamorous, but it's real. To make life easier for you, I put the gear I've tried and tested all in one place on my Charlie Survival Amazon kit list. You can find the link in the description, and my free blackout checklist is linked in the pinned comment. That is probably the easiest place to start because it gives you a clear practical baseline. For people who want the deeper, full UK specific step-by-step version, my course, the UK Crisis Readiness System, is there too. Okay, the fourth principle is one I think a lot of people need to hear. Blackouts expose household weakness more than gear weakness. When the power goes, you're not just testing your lantern, you're testing your household. How organized are you? How adaptable are you? Can you cook simply? Can you stay warm? Can you stop small inconveniences turning into literal arguments? Can you keep the household functioning without constant convenience? That is what a blackout really exposes. Because for most people, the biggest issue is not that they don't own enough gear, it's that their normal life depends on electricity for nearly every layer of their comfort and routine. No lights, no easy cooking, no screens, no quick entertainment, no smooth evening routines. That is why the best blackout prep is partly practical and partly cultural. It's about making your household a little less dependent on perfect conditions. The fifth principle is this: the best blackout plan is low drama. This might be the biggest lesson of all. People imagine preparedness as something intense, but the strongest setups are usually the most boring. The torch is always in the same place, the batteries are topped up, the power bank is charged, the water is sorted, the fridge stays shut. The house knows the routine. Nobody is shouting, nobody is improvising nonsense. That is what I mean by unfair advantage, because most people do not fail in blackouts because they are unlucky. They fail because they are disorganized, and disorganization always gets more expensive under pressure. And the final principle is this: good blackout prep should make you calmer before the blackout ever happens. This matters because if your version of preparedness leaves you glued to the news, constantly stressed and permanently on the edge, you're doing it wrong. The whole point is to build enough margin that you do not have to emotionally react every time there is bad weather, a grid warning, or some strange headline. You should be able to say, right, I've got lighting source, I've got water, I've got some food, I've got a way to keep the house steady. I know weak points, I know the sequence. That is what real preparedness gives you. It gives you the ability to stay calm while everyone else is still trying to work out what is going on, and that is freedom. So if lights went off tonight, what would happen in your house? Would it become quiet and controlled, or would it become a scramble? That is the question. And the good news is this is one of the easiest areas to improve quickly. You do not need to spend a fortune. You just need to remove friction, create sequences, and make a few good decisions before the problem begins. That is what gives you the advantage. So if this video helped, hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment below telling me what your biggest blackout weak point is right now. Light, power, cooking, warmth, organization, because being honest about that is where real preparedness starts. And the easiest practical next step is my free blackout checklist in the pinned comment. For people who want a complete UK specific step-by-step system rather than random tips, have a look at the UK Crisis Readiness System course. And for the practical gear I actually use, my Charlie Survival Amazon kit list is in the description. It's great to have you in the community and I appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed this one, you enjoyed this one on screen next. I've let YouTube recommend what one it thinks you'll enjoy. Click it and I'll see you over there.